When I'm not obsessed with something in my life, whether that is a series or a film or an album or like a specific part of history that suddenly becomes really interesting to me, or like a cooking technique, everything else in my life becomes rather dull and I start becoming bored, which is a warning sign to me because I think that I can find most everything really interesting. But one thing that I've noticed and the way that I think that I operate in my life is that I go from one obsession to the next to the next. Something that's always made me feel like I'm a little bit flaky, or that I can never commit to things, or I don't have the discipline to do so. Whatever. I now understand, and this is the great thing about getting older. I love getting older. I now understand that that is just a part of how I maintain my curiosity and how I remain interested in the world. And I think it's very important, at least for myself, and I think it'd be very helpful for other people, is run an experiment. I'm constantly doing those. And when I'm not doing those, that's when I'm feeling a little bit meh, like either overwhelmed or just kind of uninspired and unmotivated. Right now, my experiment is writing for 90 days. It's trying to write a novel in 90 days. The reason I love calling it an experiment is because experiments don't fail. You just get data from experiments. So even if the thing you committed to or you decided to do didn't go the way that you had planned or the way that you expected, it doesn't really matter. You're still getting data from that, and then that can inform other decisions. I think what it provides for me more than anything is a container. So running an experiment like the one that I'm doing now, which is writing this novel, it gives me a container where I can exercise my creativity, where I can feed my curiosity, where I can, put in some work and do some research towards something, and it motivates me to learn many different things, and it just allows me to spend time going down some rabbit hole and learning some weird shit that in the moment might not make any sense. And things don't have to make sense in the moment, and things don't have to make sense in the future either. You can just do things for the pleasure of doing things, and that is valuable enough. But the more experiments you run, the more things that you decide to do and study, you'll start making connections and you'll start seeing a bigger picture, and you'll start becoming more of an expert on certain things. And that feels good. That feels satisfying. At the core, we love creating things, and we love exchanging those things and making connections through that. I'm always happiest when I'm running some sort of experiment. I'm always happiest when there's like something I'm working towards. For myself, I never want these projects or, experiments to be out of a place of, I don't know, like it's not going to be a 75 hard. That's not the vibe. That is not the vibe. I do operate in extremes, and I do love a time constraint. So sometimes these like projects are a little bit wild. So I'm always learning the lesson of like, come back to middle ground, come back to here. That's going to be more sustainable. But again, another experiment that I ran was like, I want to do an ultra. I'm going to do an ultra, and that's going to be something that I learn a lot about, and I'm going to like invest a lot of time in that. And I did it, and I was so happy because I was so consumed by it. I loved learning about ultra runners. I loved learning about the history. I loved learning about the body and like how much fuel you need. And I just felt so immersed in the ultra running world. And then I did that. I was like, okay, I think I've done that, and maybe I'll revisit. But right now I think I need to rest. And then I just did not run for a long time, and that felt good as well. It's amazing the things that you can do and the person that you can become. It can be anything. It can be anything. Anyway, I'm going to have my lunch now. So I have come back with 2 books, which was not the plan at all. I did not expect to buy any books, but I found myself at an independent bookshop, a queer independent bookshop, and it's Pride Month. It was my duty. I felt compelled. Stop interrogating me. So I picked these 2 up. They were on display as recommended books, and I love a bookshop recommendation more than anything in this world. And I think that most bookshops shy away from giving lots of recommendations. Like there's so much space for that. Anyway, so the first one I got is Love Me Tender by Constance Debray. Ever since reading Boulder, I've been increasingly more interested in motherhood, but more so motherhood as it relates to queerness. And this is about that. So when the narrator of Love Me Tender told her ex-husband that she was dating women, he made a string of unfounded accusations that separated her from her young son. Paul was trained to say he no longer wanted to see his mother, and the judge believed him. A starkly beautiful account of the impossible sacrifices asked from mothers, Love Me Tender is a bold novel of defiance, freedom, and self-knowledge. So I'm very keen to read this one. I'll also say that the person who was working there, I don't know if they were the owner, but they were so enthusiastic and just wanted to have a conversation with people and wanted to recommend books. And it was such a delightful experience that, listen, I am an introvert. I think that a lot of people that work at bookshops are probably introverts. And so they want to just give you your space. But it's so nice to have someone that, you know, is so passionate about reading and really wants to chat about books. My cat. You need to make a choice. Which one is it? And the other one I picked up is Strange Music Draws Me In. I just read the blurb. It was also, as I said, one of the recommended books in the bookstore. It's summer 1984 in Massachusetts. Mel is 13, drinking a slush puppy at the drugstore when she hears a voice, deep and movie star dramatic like Lauren Bacall, Sylvia. Sylvia's shameless swagger and tough girl trans femininity sparks fury among her new neighbors and throws Mel into conflict with her mother and her best friend. But it is also a catalyst for Mel. She comes to realize that not only is there a world beyond Massachusetts, there are other ways of being. Narrating this blistering coming-of-age tale from 2019 is Max, formerly Mel, who is on leave from his job for defying speech codes around trans identity. Back in Massachusetts, he must navigate life as a part of fractured family and face his own role in the disasters of the past. I love a coming-of-age story, so I am very excited to read this. So those are the 2 books that I picked up that I'm very excited about. And yeah.